Full episode out November 20th. So this is only a snippet of the conversation. Should I react to the full thing? Well, if you want me to react to the full thing, you can like it in the YouTube when I make this a video, like it in the comment section, and I may react to the full thing. All right, so let's check it out.
Trump Hitler, and you don't call the Republicans Nazis. But when you say the word fascist, as you say, the meaning of that word has been eroded. That's where most people's minds is going to go, right?
So what do you guys tell me, what should I call his obvious dictatorial?
So the conversation taking place is Donald Trump a fascist? That is the conversation taking place in this video in particular. Let's have a definition, shall we? Let's be on the same page. Regardless of my opinion, I think a definition, so we're all kind of on a similar standpoint, is always appreciated. So the idea of fascism is a populist political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual, that is associated with a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, and that is characterized by severe economic and social regimentation and by forcible suppression of opposition. So you probably already knew it, but I think being on the same page is always appreciated.
Well,
And his obvious over-the-top
you know what?
racism.
Actually, this is a really great question, because what I'd love for you to
And to kind of say this, some of the things from trigonometry I actually liked, but the recent stuff from this dude has been unhinged, in terms of his favor of the right. Sometimes Jank is unhinged too, so this can be a very unhinged conversation. So let's see.
and this is a genuine question. I'm not trying to catch you out or anything like that. I genuinely am interested. I have heard a lot of rhetoric from people about Donald Trump and the concern.
All I want is, when you ask this question, do not go, what about? Do not do a whataboutism. It's like always MAGA's go-to. Instead of addressing what we're talking about, it's always a whataboutism.
That they have about the next 4 years. And, you know, people use words like fascist, dictatorial, etc. What do you fear over the next 4 years he is going to do?
Okay,
What makes
good
you
question.
say in the present moment that he's dictatorial, fascist? What is he going to do you think?
Yeah. So again, I don't know that he's going to do it because there's countervailing forces.
What do you fear?
And I think the countervailing forces are super interesting, and we should talk about that. And I'm really interested to see which way the right wing goes in this country under Trump. But the worst case scenario is he gets frazzled and feels challenged, and he falls back on what he always does, which is just protect his ego. And so he starts pilfering, and that's very much in his nature. Grab, take, because now there's no accountability. What are you going to do? Impeach him? What are you going to do? Arrest him? No accountability. There's no brakes in the car. So we're all at his mercy.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important for clarity. What do you mean by pilfering? He's going to be pilfering and pilfering.
Okay, so easy examples, but there's a million of these. He puts Jared Kushner in charge of the Middle East last time around, and Saudi Arabia. Jared Kushner at some point goes to Saudi Arabia, talks to Mohammed bin Salman, and right afterwards, Mohammed bin Salman arrests a whole bunch of people. Okay, I don't want to get into too much into what happened in that meeting.
I think the easiest way to go about this, Jank, is really just talk about the potential things that Donald Trump could do based off things he already said, right? You know, mass deporting a lot of illegal immigrants in the country, especially even ones that are fairly in the country, is a potential problem, not even counting the amount of cost that would have for the country doing a mass deportation in the first place. Eliminating bureaucracies purely based off ego and what benefits and does not benefit you, and not having any legitimate reasoning and logic towards doing these kind of blanket declarations of power, basically, from Donald Trump. Trying to get policies put in place, especially when it comes to our international friends, that makes us more isolationist, in the sense that it makes things very hard to be involved in what is going on with different allies. You know, for example, Russia, Ukraine, he gives Ukraine over to Russia. Israel, Palestine, he gives Israel complete autonomy and allows Palestine to completely roll over. Potentially even allying ourselves with North Korea and letting China take Taiwan. These are potential things that Donald Trump could do in his regime. We would have to see how everything plays out. And I mean, if we even go far enough, I mean, he going after political opposers, he can, utilize the power that he has now to go after them, putting more money in his own pockets, taking advantage of people in that way by making the rich richer. I mean, now that he wants to create a Department of Government Efficiency and cut certain budgets and cut certain regulations, he wants to make the powerful more powerful. Like, there are things that can be put in place as of right now, and not even talking about the cabinet members. We'll see how that plays. That could be very dangerous. And I'm not even going like the most radical ones. These are just ones that'll be kind of crazy, and he completely changes the federal government for the worse moving forward.
And what the results were. But whatever it was, Mohammed bin Salman was super pleased because right after the election, he gives Jared Kushner $2 billion to manage. But he gets 2 and 20 on that. So if you know private equity and how that works, what that means is he's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So if Hunter Biden got a $2 billion deal from the Saudis after Joe Biden left office, I was like, Hunter Biden's not a Ukrainian gas expert. That's nuts.
Okay,
And that was $5 million.
So your fear number one is that his family will benefit financially
And
from
him.
his president,
Yeah.
and him will benefit financially. What
and
else?
his donors,
And
most of all his
and
donors.
And his donors.
What else?
Okay, so that's, but to be fair to Trump, like part of the reason the establishment hates him is because he's systemically and personally corrupt, whereas they're just largely systemically
Look,
corrupt.
I'm accepting
right?
all this for the sake of argument without
Yeah,
challenging,
and-
because I just want you to get to like the real fascism that he's going to do
Right.
that you worry
So the
about.
reason I'm saying that is because since most of the politicians are systemically corrupt anyway, that's not the fascism
That's
I'm
my
referring
point.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
So where's the
okay,
See, this is why. Oh man, this is why it's tough when it comes to Jank, man. He's so anti-government. It's so like, I get hating the elites, but Jesus, he thinks just all of them suck.
Okay, so he says, I'm going to deport all the undocumented immigrants. So
Okay,
some people might
there we
say,
go.
yeah, good. Rip them out of their homes, 13, 15 million people, whatever it is. Oh, they're running a diner. They're beloved in their neighborhood. They married an American citizen. Whatever they did, I don't care. And oh, their kids are American citizens. Rip them away from their babies and send
Right,
them
there we
goddamn
go.
back home.
Yep,
Now,
exactly.
that's a debatable point as to whether that's fascism. My guess is that once if he starts doing it, and you start seeing people ripped out of their homes, that people are going to go, oh, that don't look good.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah.
Why is everyone spiraling over YouTube banning ad blockers?
He said he's gonna do that. He said the person he nominated for Border Czar also said he's gonna do that. Tom Hooman, who he nominated for Border Czar, said that he was gonna run the biggest deportation campaign in American history. So that's just not true. That's just not true, my boy. Like, what are you talking about? We're using the wrong account, unfortunately.
We're going to find out.
But if he
okay?
was to, let's say, I think the more likely scenario, I don't know if you agree with Jeng, but I think it's possible.
Is this
that
me,
this
or
the
is
more
this...
likely scenario is he deports all the people who've committed a crime in this country who are illegal immigrants.
We already have that.
Right. People not only came here illegally, but have committed a crime, and people who don't have American
Am I tripping? Is this me? Why does it sound so weird?
family and don't have dependents here. Let's say he was to deport all those people. Would that be fascism in your view?
I don't even know if he deported all the undocumented immigrants, it would be fascism. I'm not even stipulating
Okay,
to
so
that.
let's get to the fascism, though, because this
Okay.
is what I want to get to.
Am I tripping? What is going on? Is this me? I don't know if you're hearing anybody who's listening to the show on audio platforms, but it's acting kind of weird right now. I'm testing something out at the moment. Technical difficulties. Will I cut this out? Probably not. That's just gonna be a lot of work. Let me see if it's the...
Yeah, right. And by the way, people who committed crimes should obviously be deported.
Okay. So it's my headphones. I literally just got that. Why are the headphones acting up? Let me restart it. I literally just got these headphones, so I have no idea why they would be acting up. L technology, JBL 2, do better. I'm gonna have to. Okay, let's try again.
Right,
No
yeah,
one
we agree.
disagrees
Good,
with
great.
that.
So-
So then the thing that I'm concerned about
Okay.
is both him and the potential attorney general saying, if you're on a campus and you're protesting Trump, you're protesting Israel.
Oh, I forgot to mention this. Yes, 100%. Cenk is spitting right now. This is also dangerous. They're going to choose who they deem a terrorist group. They're going to choose who they deem to be anti-American and just send them out of the country. And these like pro-Palestinian people who may burn the flag, which is legal within the First Amendment. It says you can burn the flag. Do I want you to burn the flag? Hell no. I have a flag right there. No, I don't want you to do that. But sending them across the country because they're protesting something the government is doing, that is wild.
Israel. You're protesting the oil companies. You're protesting something we don't like. Arrest and deport you. Wait, what happened to cancel culture? I mean, arresting someone for protesting or voicing their speech is the most both cancel culture you could do. I mean, you're taking the guy's
Agreed.
freedom away, right?
Yeah, agreed. But
Deporting
Facts.
people that are American citizens.
Well,
What the hell are you talking
yeah,
about?
you can't do that. But did he do any of that in his first term?
So
The point is he said he's going to do it now. The point is now he has 3 branches of government that are filled with MAGA supporters. The point is Donald Trump himself has more power and immunity than he did then, and he understands government much more than he does now, and he's just a more loyal base of people. The point is that this is not his first term. So it's so nasty when Jinx says an obvious thing that is terrible that Donald Trump has said he's going to do. And you dismiss the fears. You ask for the fears and you dismiss it, saying that he's not going to do that. So he says he's going to do something. And you just said, he's not going to do it. He may have said it, but he's just not going to do it. He may have filled the entire government with his loyalists, but he's just not going to do it. That is an unhinged standard to have for your president of the United States. I'm not going to lie. It's just crazy that Republicans and MAGA do this. It's insane.
he didn't do that.
Okay.
Okay, but so and that's why I say, guys, when he's running, he threatens to do total complete shutdown of Muslims.
Yeah.
He threatens to arrest and deport people, etc. But he didn't necessarily do it. So for example, they said lock her up, and then he got into office and he said, no, I'm not locking Hillary Clinton up. So I have an open mind. But when he threatens, so when he threatens those type of things, I go, I am deeply, deeply concerned. Now here's other things.
Okay.
So they had a 3-hour meeting after he lost the.
And I do want to point out my stance as well, that I think it's possible none of this happens, of course. But when you ask a question on what the fears are, I only can go based on how he's conducting himself now, what he's saying, and what the people around him are also saying. So, I mean, the fears are not based off empty rhetoric. It's not based off unrealistic sentiments. It's based off things right in front of us. It just is.
Election, where Michael Flynn
Lock
and I
in.
believe Sidney Powell. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to get sued. Okay, but definitely Michael Flynn said, "Let's use martial law. Let's roll out the tanks." Okay, and we won this election, and we're going to correct the fraud, and let's go grab the actual ballot machines. Okay. And Trump was
MAGA is still
"Okay,
saying
now
this.
listen,
The
now we're having a conversation."
election
And
is
that's why I said
fraudulent after
3 hours.
winning is
So he-
also
yeah,
wild.
Hold on.
No, hold on. You're talking about something that already happened. I'm asking you about the future. Let's just stick with that.
No, but that's totally relevant.
No, well, I'm sure, which is why I'm asking you the question to follow up. So, do you
It is
fear
relevant.
that at the end of this 4-year period, he's not going to relinquish power? Is that what you're saying?
So since he didn't relinquish power last time, yes.
Well, ultimately
one
he
of the
did,
things-
but you
Ah,
fear.
come on, guys.
Fine, let's accept that for the sake of argument again. So,
His charity that he's having for Trump is kind of wild. I just don't. I mean, I'm glad he's not arguing because you can't really argue with things that happen and that are said. But what is he trying to get? What is he trying to understand? Like Cenk is saying the reasons why he's fascist, or why people fear that he's going to be a fascist. Let me rephrase that. He's saying it. He's backing up his claims, but you're still looking for something. What are you looking for exactly? What has to be the nail in the coffin? Does he have to just say he's a dictator for you to be like, okay, now I see it? Like, what are you? I'm trying to find out. Like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to see what you're trying to understand.
4-year period, when he can no longer run for election again, you fear that he will not hand over the presidency.
A guy who said, let's terminate the Constitution, considered martial law, and had a fake elector plot to steal an election, might he try to stay in power? Of course, he tried to do it once.
Well, that's good. So we got to. So you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, he will not vacate the White House.
That is one of my concerns, absolutely, and that alone is a deal breaker.
Well, it'd be a deal breaker for anyone, left and right, no question.
Except it wasn't, because he already tried to do it, and the right was like, no big deal, no big deal.
I don't think that's.
It was a giant deal.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite true. But anyway, that's your big.
Because you can't argue with the facts. You have to move on.
Is the reason I was telling you about martial law is because he's also said, let's use the military to shoot the protesters in the legs. Let's use the National Guard.
He did say this.
Citizens,
Yep.
etc. When you're talking about arresting or shooting U.S. citizens and you using the military to do that because you don't like their protests, and you could be livid about their protests, it doesn't matter.
Sure, it's
we have a
un-American.
right to protest.
Of course.
And when he says that, and he has definitively said that and said it on the record, if you go and do that, now that there are no brakes in the car, and there is no General Milley, and there is no General Kelly, and they're not going to be able to stop him, if he does that, do you guys agree that would be fascism?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so
good.
your great concerns are just to replay it for people, and then I'll hand over to Francis. Number one, at the end of the 4-year term that he currently has, he's not going to hand over the presidency. Number one, and number two, he is going to be deeply un-American about the way he handles free speech and the right to protest and the right to free assembly. In other words, he will take protesters and strip them of citizenship. He will have the army shoot them. He will imprison people for turning up on a college campus and burning an American flag, let's say. Those are your two main kind of like, this is the fascism that might happen. Have I got you right?
That's right. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen.
But that's
I'm
your
saying
concern.
he has said those things.
That's your concern.
And it makes me concerned that he will do those things.
Okay.
I'm glad he's asking questions. Like, I won't be too hard on trigonometry. Based off this snippet, I guess it depends on how much charitability that he's willing to give Donald Trump is the biggest question, right?